to the Drew Sutton Leadership Show, lighting the way with real leaders, real stories, and real impacts. Because when leaders stop growing, the darkness wins. All right, welcome to a special episode of the Drew Sutton Leadership Show. Today's episode is sponsored by TAB, the Technology Association of the Bluegrass, an amazing organization here in Central Kentucky focused on the technology community. Today, we're going to be answering the question, what if your people, not your strategy or ERP, were the key to lasting change? To answer that question, meet Marci Adams, the Director of Communications and Strategic Engagement for the University of Kentucky's Information Technology Services. She is a master of momentum. When change feels stuck in your team, Marci empowers organizations to build grassroots change networks that boost adoption, reduce resistance, and transform employees into champions of innovation. She's not just a strategic communicator, she's a super interesting leader with 2 degrees from the University of Kentucky and a career that's taken her from creative design to driving culture change across large organizations. Her journey is as unique as she is, and I am super excited to have her on the show. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Marci.
Hi, Drew. Thanks for having me.
So the reason I'm personally excited to have you on the show, of course, you're the university is one of the founding members of the Tech Association of the Bluegrass. That's exciting. But also you are a fellow culture nerd and tech nerd, because we're both in the technology space.
Yeah.
So in a world that's obsessed with AI tools, tech stacks, and all this stuff, how do you bring humanity to the tech world?
Well, as you can imagine, in the tech world, we are always enacting change. There is always something new coming up. There is always something new that we need to get out there. And let's be honest, change has to have people behind it. So if you're not addressing the people side of change, how far are you really going to get? And I think that's where my team within UK Information Technology Services, we really focus on the people side, right? You can make the best tech products in the world, but if you're not thinking about who it's going to and who's going to use it, how good is it really going to be, right?
Yeah, no, I think this is one of the really cool things about IT that I think most people don't get, is that we make technology. So I do leadership coaching, right? That's like my day job, so to speak. Folks are always asking me, how'd you get from engineering to leadership work? And for me, it's a silly question, because when I invented technology, it was always to help the people do cool stuff better, right? Like as an engineer, our motto is, if it doesn't have enough features, or if it's not broken, add more features. That's the engineering motto.
Yeah.
But the idea is we're always trying to connect with people and help them do the work that they're doing more productively.
Right.
So you are at the University of Kentucky in the IT department, right? Which I think a lot of times we're like, oh, those are kind of like the nerds in the back room. But you don't come across that way at all. How do you start an IT project with people in mind?
Well, that is a big part of being involved in the project early. And yes, I work with many wonderful, smart tech nerds that live in the background. But you have to talk early in the project to understand, who is this product really for? What kind of change is it going to bring to their day-to-day work? How might they receive this new product? What are we going to do to disrupt their everyday life? And being involved in that early means that you can give better insight to the technical team about how to roll this out. Again, you can make the best technical product in the world, but if you're not being strategic about how it's going to reach the audience and who's going to use it, how good is it really, right? And so I think the key is being at the table early and often. And, my team talks, we're change management, organizational change management, I think is becoming a buzzword in a lot of ways, but at the heart of it, it's managing the people part, right?
Yeah. So, go ahead. Yeah.
And so I think the key things early in a project is, who are we talking to here?
Yeah. So you mentioned in the prep for the show, you mentioned that you are a little bit into personality styles, and you said that you're a realtor. So what does that mean from a personality perspective?
I said realtor, I meant relator, but also we can do both, right? No, I had the privilege about a year ago, and one of the things I love about working at the University of Kentucky is there's a lot of opportunity for professional development. So I had the opportunity about a year ago to do a little bit of a leadership development to the Clifton Strengths. If you're one of those Clifton Strengths people, some people read into those more than others, but my top thing was a relator, and I think it really hit a bell for me in that in the change management space, you have to be a relator. You have to be a bit of an empath because you have to see things through other people's perspectives. what are they going to think when I present them with this brand new app or this new workflow that they want them to use? And so it's a little bit where I get into the change network thing. You have to make some real connections and relationships with people if you want your change to stick, if you want your technology to be adopted appropriately. And so I kind of lean into that relator thing a little bit. I do a lot of, let's get on a call, let's talk through some of your concerns, let me listen to what you've got going on. And it really empowers how we're going to roll out something in the tech space.
So I love this idea of a change network. I personally do a thing I call culture systems, where your IT systems, your business systems, and your people systems need to connect together. And how do you make sure that that happens as you scale your company? You are already doing work. I think that when I said the University of Kentucky IT department, I think we all kind of imagined a certain group of people with Marci as maybe the nice face that people want to relate to. But it's actually a huge organization. The University of Kentucky has thousands of employees. Each department is hundreds of employees large. So you're working internal to the university, but really you're kind of equivalent to a IT consulting group that's doing large change management for medium and large size businesses. How do you go about wrestling that beast?
Well, we have so many diverse areas of IT within UK ITS. I mean, we have everything from developers to customer support to data specialists to cybersecurity experts. And so we do a wide range of IT. So really, we are kind of like a tech company within the University of Kentucky. And so you might think of a traditional one role in IT, but we have all different kinds in there. And so it does make the job exciting. There's different change management certainly to do every single day. But our primary focus is making sure that the university of community knows what kind of technology resources are out there, the best ways to use them, and then how it's going to impact the work they're doing. I mean, we're talking about audiences that might be an undergrad student who's 18 in a difference to a physician that works in UK healthcare. I mean, we have such a wide different range. Yeah. And that's why having change networks is so important, because if you don't empower some people in your different parts of your community, you're just never going to be able to hit all the audiences the way you think. I'm not an expert in how an 18-year-old is going to manage, hit a change versus, a faculty member. And so you have to lean on your contacts. You have to lean on those change networks to effectively get those out there. And so that's why I spend a lot of time and investment in making those relationships so that I can give them the changes so that they can support us in getting those out to our far different reaches of corners of campus and healthcare that we serve.
Yeah. All right. So let's dig back into this change network, because I think this is a you thing. I think that maybe it's a university thing, but I really feel like this is something that's core to you. When was the moment where you said, hey, I need to think about change management differently? It's not just about taking in the requirements and then putting in the structured wiring and getting some Wi-Fi nodes put up. When did you know, hey, I need to really focus in on this idea of change network?
I think one of the first projects that I think really enacted a change network was a couple of years ago before COVID and implemented a brand new multi-factor authentication system at the University of Kentucky, which was a pretty big change. We didn't have it. And it was one of those things that we wanted people to kind of early adopt it before it became mandatory. Again, you're trying to reduce kind of this friction of people feeling like they have to do something. And so we reached out to various contacts that do IT roles in colleges, departments all across campus that maybe don't necessarily work in our shop. And we empowered them with more information about this upcoming change. We said, hey, here's all these different assets that you can use to get the information out. We've got pretty things for you. We've got how-to instructions. We gave them lists of their own department, how much of their department has adopted it early versus, those that still need to kind of jump on the train. And we just saw so much better adoption of the change when we put it in the hands of people who are boots on the ground or have some inherent trust with those departments, rather than it always just coming top down from ITS. If you're able to put it in a context that people are more used to getting information or they have more trust there, you're just going to have better results no matter what. And so once we saw the success of that, we were like, man, we gotta do this more often. We got to empower others to get our change and to support us in getting these things out, because doing it by ourselves every single time is just not going to always get the results we want. And who loves their IT shop telling them every single day that they have a thing coming up? Like, wouldn't you rather hear it from your manager or a fellow student or something like that? And so that's where it kind of flipped for us of like, we need to invest in time in empowering others to support us in this, because we have a lot of really big tasks that are complex changes. They're technical, they're hard to explain. They reach multiple people differently. And if you're not leveraging other people out there, you're just doing yourself a disservice.
No, I love this. So one of the first things that I do when I work with my clients is we go back to the basic. What is your mission? What is your vision? What is your goals for this year, for this quarter? And it seems so silly sometimes, but those big IT changes, like you're not just rolling in a new two-factor authentication system or a new big ERP or a shipping system or a building system. You're not pulling these things because you're being ornery. Like, this is a strategic move that's going to move the organization forward. And the soft rollout of that is helping our teams understand, I know that you have to learn a new accounting software, but this is how it's going to help us meet our strategic goals for the year. And this is how you use it. And this is how it makes your day job better. That is an aspect of leadership that I think that is not appreciated. I think we just we do the sourcing, we do the decision making, we purchase the thing, and we forget that now we have to help the team adopt it.
Right. And I think too, when you get something exciting, like a new tool, you want to just like full speed ahead, roll it out. And a lot of times we have to say, like, let's hit pause for just a second. What if we took a little bit of time? We had a couple meetings with some folks, whether you want to call them stakeholders or change network or people managers or, your culture friends or whatever. Let's take a minute and let's talk with them and have a little dialogue about, so they understand the real why of what we're doing this, or they understand that what's going to happen to their specific population that they're worried about, and maybe even let them ask a little Q&A. Listen, give them a little time to voice their concerns and know that we're listening. It pays off. And I know, like, I get eye rolls too sometimes of like, oh, Marci, I don't want to talk about my product. I just want to, roll it out. But it pays off 100%. If you can have people and get the buy-in on your side so that you're not doing every single, all the spreading awareness, you've got some other little agents out there doing your thing. I mean, it pays off every single time.
Yeah. And I find that there's always 2 or 3 folks in the group, and sometimes they come from the weirdest sectors that become your change heroes, your champions that are out there saying, no, we need to, it's one of the peers in the frontline workers, and they're saying, we need to do this. And they kind of catch that vision. All right. So look, the university has this really cool kind of position in our society where there's the extension agencies, which, they do a lot of ag work and they do a lot of tech work, but not so much in the IT space. So pretend that I'm a mid-level company. I've got 100, 200 employees, and I'm thinking about a new ERP system, or I'm thinking about rolling out a big IT change. Give me, the leader, some advice, and maybe share some stories where you guys have done it really well. And then I'm going to ask you for some advice on how to get my team to really engage it.
Well, I think you have to engage with your fellow leaders. I mean, I think step 1 is meeting with your managers or even your people that are your unofficial kind of leadership roles within your organization. And give them a little time and investment of, hey, I want to present to you all a really exciting thing that we have coming up. We're not ready to necessarily talk about it to the full audience yet, but I want you all to understand why we're going through this journey, what benefits are in it for us when we reach the other side. And I want to explain it to you in a way that you understand. I think that's a crucial part, especially in the IT space and in many industries as well. You've got to bring it down some notches to make sure people truly understand. Take away all the jargon, take away all the technical, what is really going to be in it for these people, and engage them early. So I think people get a little offended when you're like, hey, and we're going to roll this ERP out next week. Well, you didn't really give me much time to think about this, right? And so I think that's a little bit of a balancing act. You don't want to do it too early, because you want to make sure okay, we've had the core decisions made. We've decided on this solution. We think we have a timeline that we really need to do this. But you don't engage them so late that it just seems like you did it to check a box, right? You want to give them a little time to participate in the change as well. So, hey, we've settled on a solution. We know it needs to be rolled out at this certain time, but we would love for you all to be involved with how we spread the word, or how we roll out the training plan, or something like that. So you want to leave a little room to let those leaders be a part of the change, because as soon as you do that, they're going to be your champions, right? They're going to feel like they're a part of it, that it's not just a top-down thing. They understand the why too, and they've been able to be participatory in it. And so, that's a kind of basic 101. There's some changes that are way more complex, and you're going to have to, bring in some more players than just that. But I would recommend that to every business. Don't overlook your people managers and your people of influence within your company. I mean, I think you can almost think of it like influencers, right?
Yeah, 100%. You can think of it that way. Yeah.
Give them a little time and investment. And I think it's crucial too that you listen to them as well. I get this a lot too of like, oh, Marci, I don't want to talk about this because then we'll get this feedback from our people that I don't, we're not really going to change anything, right? And I understand that, but it doesn't mean you can't listen to people's concerns and say, that's really great feedback. Like, we might not be at the stage to implement that just yet, but I'm so glad you told us that. That will definitely impact how we message this new rollout moving forward. Some people just want to be listened to, and so it doesn't just seem like you're throwing things out, right?
Yeah. Do you have a moment that you can think of where you were listening to the ground level troops or maybe the mid-level managers? You were listening to your influencers and you said, oh, we really do need to rethink this.
Gosh, so many. I think a lot of times we find that when we take a little time to listen, we realize that our new thing we're rolling out or our new change we're going to have is really going to disrupt somebody's day-to-day way more than we thought. And those are realizations where we're like, wow, okay, we didn't realize that this person actually uses that button or that feature every single day. We need to slow this down a little bit to make sure we're giving them the due diligence of we've given them enough notice, we've given them enough time to prepare for this. And so we have had several changes where after having that conversation, we've said, okay, we can't roll this out tomorrow. There's no way. This is going to drastically disrupt how this person does their day-to-day job. And for those opportunities, I'm so grateful because I would rather someone express those concerns and questions before than get the calls to our help desk after, right? And we have to say, oh, I'm so sorry that we didn't realize.
I love that. I'm going to ask you to repeat that because I think it's so powerful. So when you're thinking about change, hit your line. I love that line. Say it again.
I would rather them express their concerns and questions beforehand than after. And I repeat that a lot to my fellow colleagues. It's like, you want them to complain about it now or after you've already done it? I think you'd rather do it now, even though it hurts either way. We can do something about it now, right?
My favorite story on this is during COVID, I was at a large defense contractor, and so they sent us all home. But so now we go from essentially 99% of work in the office to 80% working from home. And we'd always been able to work from home before that because sometimes you're on travel. So we had the infrastructure like the VPNs and stuff in place. But all of a sudden, the managers had to work from home, and the managers felt that they felt the bandwidth constriction on their reports, and magically the extra servers that we had been needing for like 3 or 4 years to get decent data rates magically showed up when the managers all of a sudden had to use it. So I love your story about the individual that was like, no, I use this button all the time. I think we need to shorten the distance between the decision maker and the consequence holder, because when you do that, all of a sudden everybody kind of understands each other a little bit better.
And I think that's what's wonderful about having someone who's thinking about change management early in your project, because while you're chugging along on meeting deadlines and getting your features ready, someone in change management is going to think, okay, well, I know this tool is going to impact students. We need to start talking to students right now and understand, like, does this make sense to them? How is this going to work for them? And if you have it in early, you're not going to get to the point where you're about to launch it and realize somebody is not going to like it. If you ask those questions early and often, you're going to end up with a much better adoption by the time that you're ready to roll something out. And again, it might slow down the process a little bit, but I will say it over and over again. It's well worth the investment if you truly want your tool to be adopted well and to be used how you intend it to be used.
No, this is true. I run into this with clients all the time. They will tell me a story about something that they bought because they thought they needed it, and then nobody ended up using it. So now they have this between $3,000 and $30,000 software that they need for like 3 features, and so they kind of have to keep it around, but nobody else is really using it. And so it's this like major business hit because they didn't do the adoption section correctly. So give me a little bit of advice. So I'm rolling something out. Pizza parties, ping pong tables. What's the best way to recruit a couple of influencers so that we actually start using the new ERP system?
I mean, free food's always great. I'm not going to disregard that. But if you don't have the budget for free food, I think you have to be a little bit creative about, I mean, we all know that what's in it for me is always a very big carrot for everyone. And so if you're going to bring somebody in, you really have to look through their eyes and think about, what is this going to bring for them or their group that they advocate for? And you have to frame it like that. If you can't make it about them, then you're going to have a hard time getting that buy-in for them to be your champion throughout the change. And so I think you got to invite them to the table. I think, like I said earlier, giving them a little bit of an opportunity to be participatory in the change. So, hey, if you come to my meeting, I would love to, listen to you, and we're going to collaborate together on what might be the best way to launch this thing. I feel like most people, especially in those leadership roles, are pretty enticed by that little carrot of like, oh, I get to be a part of it. They're telling me this is going to be something that's great for my team. Well, I'm already there. I mean, and then maybe there's pizza too. But I think a lot of times in change management, you do have to be the always empath of thinking about how other people would perceive things rather than your own, which is very different. I feel like project teams are always thinking about making the best product. So you have to be that advocate for the person that the product's going to get delivered to. But wait a minute, yes, that's a really cool tool, but I don't know if this group that you're delivering it to wants it that way, right? Like they've done it, you have to be a little bit of both, I think, in that aspect. I think you touched on it too. One of my biggest pet peeves with change management is people think that change management can just be like one email or that it's only communication. And communication is a huge part of change management, but it's not all of change management. Like I said, you have to have these meetings, you have to have these pizza parties, you have to build these relationships. You might have to have some live demos to a certain targeted group before you launch the full thing. Change management is not just I sent one email and I checked a box and I did it.
Yeah, and then it's their fault for not using it.
You didn't read the one email,
Yeah. I always tell people you get what you inspect, not what you expect. So you got to be out there pushing it all the time.
Yep.
And then I tell people, I tell my clients, you got to rock and roll. And what I mean by that is you have these rocks these messages that you're like, hey, this quarter, we're rolling this out. I need everybody adopted by this time period. And then no matter where you meet people, as a leader, you don't get to talk as freely as you do as a peer. Like with a peer, we can have a conversation. We can kind of spitball on things. But as a leader, it's a constant PR campaign to explain to people, this is where we're going. This is why we're going there. This is why it's good for you. This is why we need to adopt this. This is the benefits you get when we adopt it. And so you got to have those rocks figured out, all of the value propositions, not for me, but for the individual, and be able to help them work through that idea. Yes, this is why I want to do this. This is why I want to champion this. I love it.
And I think this is where it plays a little too on the culture nerd thing that we talked about, because if you become an organization that is kind of making these change networks, or you're constantly, involving others in the change process, you're going to build a really cool culture, I feel like. And so, if you've had those meetings with managers beforehand, and then your CEO goes up to announce the big new launch we're getting ready to have, the worst thing you can have is one of your managers just rolling their eyes the whole time, right? But if you've invested the time and some good change management beforehand, you've already talked to them, you've addressed the concerns they've had, they at least know the why, and they're not, sitting in the back of the room going, oh God, we're doing this again, right? And so it kind of touches on that culture piece as well of making people a part of things you're doing, and it's not always such a top-down delivery of things that are coming up.
One of the things that I found super successful is I tell people, I get to say what we need to do and when we need to do it, but then you get to tell me who's going to do it and how they're going to do it. And I found that, you can break, those are kind of the 4 questions, right? Like what needs to be done, when it needs to be done, who has to do it, and how they're going to get it done. And I find that when I if I own all 4 of those things, I never get buy-in from the team. They feel like it's authoritarian. They feel micromanaged. They feel like they don't have a say. And if I don't give them enough of those things, they don't feel like there's a vision. But if I take 2, which is what and when, and they take who and how, I've gotten so much energy, and and I promise not to tell, but they came up with better ideas than me.
Right? Yeah. We find that a lot. So students are a really hard group for us to engage with. Their attention's really hard to get, but we have a lot of things that we roll out to students, or we need students to change in some kind of action that they do. And so we have some of the best success when we leverage other students to help us figure out how to get the word out. We literally just had a meeting yesterday where we were trying to brainstorm around using Gen Z slang in some of our upcoming videos. We have a new portal a new administrative portal that's getting ready to roll out, and we were all just dying laughing. But we had students that did the reads for us, and they always come up with better things than we can. And so, I think I think too, the idea of a change network or something, you have to be okay with letting a little bit of control go, which I think is hard for some people. So, this is my baby, this is my product I've made. And so sometimes it's a little hard to let go and let others take it and do what they want with it. But you're missing so many opportunities when you shut all those doors down.
Because I feel like as a leader, so when you're an individual contributor, you're super valuable if you can make a great product and if you can get your job done. But the job as a leader is to get the whole culture moved forward. So like, it's not enough to say, well, we bought it and it was the right technical move. That doesn't count. It only counts if your employees are bought in and everybody's using it. That's when success happens. So relinquishing that control so you can actually achieve success, I think is huge. I love that.
Another thing that I try to preach a lot around here too is that, as with any relationships are a two-way street, personal, professional, whatever. You have to not just always go to your change network when you need something from them. And so I think it's also really important. A lot of times, we're IT. We're not exactly the most exciting thing in the world, but we do have to talk to students quite a bit on things that we're doing. And so we try to do things to engage students, even when we don't have to, right? So we might show up at a student event, or, we're handing out little we have stress balls that we hand out with students, because I feel like it's very important that we continue to engage with them, not when we need something from them, not when something's broken, but if we're continuously giving a little friendly relationship building with those groups, and not just students. I mean, this is across the board in other departments as well. They're going to be a lot more likely to listen when we come to the door and need something from them. And so you don't want to make your change network just this constant people that you bug all the time. And again, it's a culture piece as well. Make sure that you're making it a two-way street. Engage with them. Maybe, you give them pizza every now and then, or thank you for being, you have a congratulatory party at the end of the project. Thank you for being such an important part of this project. Because if you're just constantly making them do work for you, that's not going to work very well either, right? So you got to listen, you got to engage them. It's a two-way street.
I love it. And what I love about this, and this is one of the reasons I'm so excited about this show, is that it really speaks to IT as an anthropology and as an enabler, as opposed to I think that, again, I grew up in the engineering side of the world, and we try to use our tech savvy or this really cool feature that we've made or this new software as a power play. But really, if we all look at each other as servants and say, hey, how can I serve you the best? How can I connect with you? How can I relate to you? I've always viewed myself as a wizard who makes really cool toys for people. And when it comes out of a heart of servanthood and a heart of connection, I think everybody appreciates that. And they kind of tolerate your engineering idiosyncrasies because they realize, hey, my heart here is to help you out. And everybody begins to appreciate each other.
That's one of the things I also love about working at the University of Kentucky is, our overall mission is to advance the whole state of Kentucky, right? And so I work with a lot of tech nerds that get in the weeds, but at the end of the day, I think they know that what they're making is either going to help students graduate or help patients get better care. And so right on, I think it's something that's so great about, you have to keep that human side of what are my tools actually going to enable.
I love it. All right. Well, I have to talk about it because we're both tech nerds and you're in IT, so I have to use the AI word. What's your thoughts on AI? How should we think about it? And is UK bringing AI to the student population somehow?
Well, you asked me this at a very interesting time. So UK actually just had a recent announcement in a partnership with Microsoft about AI. And to be honest, it's very early. So I can't speak to all the ins and outs of it yet. But what I will say is that the University of Kentucky definitely knows that AI is a huge part of our modern society, and where we feel like we owe it to both our students as well as our employees to make AI accessible. and understood. So what I think that UK is looking like they're going to do in 2026 is make AI literacy a top priority. So, whatever kind of thing you think about AI, whether you love it, you hate it, you're scared of it, it's not going away. So you need to know what it is and understand it. And I think we also feel like our students in the next generation of the workforce, we have to help them understand how AI is going to impact the industries they're going into. And so I think that UK is doing some really exciting stuff to make sure that we are continuing to advance Kentucky and have those AI options available. We're seeing it in all corners of IT. I mean, like I said, we service healthcare as well as campus. There's some really exciting things going in the healthcare space with AI and a lot of ambient listening, things like that in the doctor's rooms that I'm really looking forward to. I think healthcare is one of the most exciting spaces to see what's coming in AI, because we're talking about more lives saved there. But my personal opinion is AI is not going away, and so to ignore it is to do yourself a disservice. Whether you want to use it every day in your life or not, you need to know what it is and isn't. And so I'm really excited to see how UK is going to roll out this new initiative that they have.
I'm excited about it as well. So I come from the generation, my first year of college, I pulled out the card catalog, like the Dewey Decimal System card catalog, and I got the little card out, and then I walked to the rack and I read the content, the table of contents of the book to see if what I needed was in there. So I remember those research days. But by the end of college, I went to UK. So at the end of college, it was all computerized. We still had the Dewey Decimal System, but you could tell if the book was checked out. And I kind of tell this story because all of my mentors in my career, they didn't have that in college, right? So their mind is that information is super hard to get to. Like, just to read an article was a 30 or 45-minute activity. Whereas for me, it was a control F. I just find it what I need, and then later on it's just Google it. But AI, and this is where I'm building to, if we start seeing AI not as intelligence replacement but intelligence augmentation, and it's kind of on that, we used to have to chisel stone tablets, then we had the Dewey Decimal System, then we had the internet. Now AI just makes that information all that more accessible. If we can learn to do that, I'm extremely positive on it. I think it's extremely exciting. I am a little bit nervous that the next generation won't appreciate how hard it is to think, and they'll just ask ChatGPT, what to say.
And I think that's the challenge for our educators right now. And I want to say it was a couple years ago, I heard a speaker speak on future generation workforce and AI, and he said something like, you have to learn how to use AI or AI is going to use you. And I kind of love that context of like, you have to be smarter than it. You have to look at it as a tool. I think so many people are afraid of like, oh, AI is going to replace me and things like that, but not if you're smarter than the AI, not if you look at it as a tool instead of something to completely replace thought. And so I do think that is going to be a challenge for our next, I have young kids. I'm already talking to them about, hey, AI can't do your homework for you. You can use it as a tool.
Oh, I have high schoolers. This is a real conversation.
Yeah. So I don't know. It is an interesting era we're getting ready to go into. I know for me personally, a little selfishly, I work in IT, but I have no tech background. Like I said, I came from a graphic design background. So I use AI to explain tech jargon to myself all the time. And then I don't have to look stupid in front of my colleagues of like, what does that mean again? So it's like, I get on there and I'm like, oh, okay, now it seems like I know what I'm talking about.
That's great.
So.
Well, and so I am a tech background sort of a guy, and I use AI all the time. Actually, I use it for the reverse. I write things, and the way that my brain works is like bullet point lists, which is not how humans like to interact, as it turns out. Shocker. And so I'll say, I want to say this, and I want to convey these ideas. Help me organize my thinking. But then I use AI, and I'll say, hey, so I kind of use it as a tutor. I'll say, hey, look, I want to say this. Help me understand what I said wrong. Help me understand how to organize this flow. So, learning to use AI correctly. I have kids that are in high schoolers, and I tell them all the time, listen, nobody can do your push-ups for you, so don't use AI to do your push-ups. But dang Skippy, use it as a tutor and make, as a personal trainer.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. Well, we have had a great show. I've super enjoyed having you on. Again, thank you to the University of Kentucky for being a Tech Association of the Bluegrass founding member. Super exciting. You guys are a great member of our community. If folks are, medium-sized business, large business, they need some advice, I think they can find you on LinkedIn, right? So that would be LinkedIn/n Marci-Adams. And also, and this is what I'm excited about, I just threw it into the comments here. This is your link tree. You guys do a great job for speed networking. So not only do you help folks actually implement changes at UK, but you help the larger community connect with each other. So talk to me real quick about the link tree and the speed networking that you guys have been doing.
We have events here and there where we have two kind of communities that we try to engage with regularly. One is what we call our IT community of practice. So our fellow IT nerds across the enterprise. We actually meet monthly with that group, and we'll do some special in-person events here and there. And then we also have our Wildcats and Tech groups where we did speed networking and really just trying to create community for those various tech roles that are throughout the UK community, and also even just in the Lexington community as well. Again, too, like I said, selfishly, it is kind of trying to engage those groups because those are groups that we need to do the work that we're doing every day and to need to buy into the IT resources that we have. And so the link tree should lead you to all of our social media channels. So we try to do not just announcements about UK stuff, but we also have a lot of great cybersecurity tips and trends that are going on in the IT space. Again, where we are part of the University of Kentucky, we feel like we owe our community to continue to educate them about IT things going on in the world.
I love it. Well, so with that, we're kind of running out of time on the show here. Thank you so much for being on. Thank you to UK for being such a great partner. And with that, we are out.
Thanks.